PC fam, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Chill with Chill. We are right in the middle. Well, at the beginning, towards the middle of the second series of the NBA playoffs. Chill. It's getting exciting. We're gonna get into it all today, Chill. I mean, we talk about last night, talk about tonight. We got to update that Steph Curry is out for at least a week, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So that changes the series.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Tremendously.
That changes the series right there alone.
Mm-hmm.
That's the game tonight. They play tonight. Chill. What do you think is going to happen tonight? How do you think the Steph Curry injury will affect the Warriors?
Well, now this moves each one of these guys up the ladder. So now, without your leading scorer, without your most dangerous offensive threat, without your best shooter, so now this moves everybody else up the ladder. Now Jimmy Butler can't be as passive as he was in Game 1. He can't be as lenient as he was. He's got to be more of a bucket getter. That means Pods has to be more of a bucket getter and more of a distributor. That means Buddy Hield has to do even more. Now, for all intents and purposes, Buddy Hield is a shooter. I'm not going to argue that point. But I think that one of the main reasons why this Minnesota team was having such a difficult time with Golden State throughout the course of the season was because when we get in the meat and potatoes of games, my best player, which is Steph Curry, would outplay Anthony Edwards. And Julius Randle wasn't playing up to snuff at that point. He has actually been better. With the exception of this Game 1, he has actually been better. And I think that this team is going to look a lot different tonight. I think you're going to see a lot more aggressive scoring overall from the group. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. I think that Minnesota will pull this out.
Okay. So what about Buddy Hield? Do you think Buddy Hield got it in him?
Well, from what I saw in Game 7, from what I've been seeing in this series, I mean, without Steph Curry on the floor, we know now that more shots are going to be distributed to him because they don't have that shooter on the floor now. They don't have that guy who can stretch the defense like Buddy Hield can. So now that you have that, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Buddy Hield shoot more, but I think that this Minnesota defense, because they were so wrapped up in Steph Curry, I think that they're going to chase Buddy Hield off the line a lot more. I think that they're going to crowd him a lot more. And I think Buddy Hield is the most effective when he's shooting open shots. So does he have it in him? Well, he showed me that he had it in him against this Houston team. I think this Minnesota team, I think they're a different unit, and I think they defend differently. I do think that he has it in him, Mox. I'd be surprised if he got busy again, though.
Well, tonight, not only that game, Chill, but we'll be looking at the Cleveland Cavaliers. They play tonight, or no? They're tomorrow. That's right. Cleveland's tomorrow. Cleveland. Yeah, Indiana. They're tomorrow. So it's just the one. It's just the one game tonight. Okay, the one lone game. So we don't got much time on Thursdays. We don't got too much time for the formalities. Let's kind of get into it. Let's get into some things. What's going on in this series? Something came through the desk today, Chill. You sent it through. Jalen Brunson in the fourth quarter. Let me make sure I get the numbers right, okay? Because I don't want to mess up the numbers because I want to make sure I can talk about what everybody else is doing. In the fourth quarter of these playoffs, Chill. Start the one. Here we go. We have Jalen Brunson leading in the fourth quarter points in the postseason. So far, he has 86 points in the fourth quarter. That's pretty impressive. But it's really impressive when you see that the second most points scored in the fourth quarter is from Jamal Murray, and he scored 46 points. He scored 40 more points than the next guy in the fourth quarter. I mean, if that's not clutch player of the year, I don't know what is.
It's almost double, Ox. What are we doing? I just want to make sure that I heard you right. 86, and he scored 4. So that's almost double what he's doing. So with that being said, it's even more impressive with Jalen Brunson off the strength that they know who he is. They know what he's about. They know what he's trying to do. So with them knowing what he's trying to do, with them knowing that when he steps on the floor in the fourth quarter, all right, this is my time to get busy, and they expect me to do it, and he's delivering. That's pretty remarkable, Ox. Now,
yeah, I mean, Next to that, you got Jamal Murray at 46,
Right.
Anthony Edwards 45, Kawhi 45, JT 44, Jokic 43, Cade 43, Mikal 42, Donovan 40. Like this is,
it's just a testament to how much they, which is pretty remarkable, Ox, considering who else they got on the crew. I mean, they got other bucket getters. Mikal Bridges is a bucket getter. They got arguably the best shooting big man in NBA history in Cat. In addition to them having arguably the best shooting big man in the game, they got another bucket getter in OG Anunoby. But they all know, and when we get into the meat and potatoes of the game, this is our guy, which is pretty remarkable considering Jamal Murray, he plays with Joker, right? Jamal Murray plays with Joker. So, and the fact that Jalen Brunson delivers too, Ox, that's even more impressive.
I mean, think about that, Chill. You look here, you see those are the teammates.
Yep.
Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray are both on this list.
Yep.
Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges are both on this list. Like Nikola Jokic only has 1 more point than Mikal in the fourth, and Jamal only has 4 more points than Mikal. This Knicks team, they're scoring a lot in the fourth quarter.
They are, and primarily due to Jalen Brunson. He's the bucket getter that they have. Now, let's not forget that, I mean, Mikal Bridges last night went for 14 in the fourth. He didn't have a bucket previous to the fourth quarter. He went and he had 14 in the fourth quarter, and I think that was a big deal. And I already told you this earlier today, Ox. As good as the and yes, I do have to give the Knicks more credit, but I think this is largely due to one guy and one guy only, and that's Jason Tatum. I think that with how they threw them in a hole yesterday, that I think that it was up to Jason Tatum to close the door on this. And the example that I gave you was very much like what was going on with Denver and the Clippers. If Joker puts us up 20, it is our job to sustain that. If you think about a football team, if you tell me, Chill, give me 21 points, I'll make those 21 points stick from the defense. I will 100% make those 21 points stick from the defense. Well, if you are telling me that we're going to throw this team 20 in a hole, if I'm the best player, I'll make those 20 points stick. I will. I'll make them stick. That's my job as the best player on this unit, as the best distributor, as the best scorer, as the best rebounder. That's my job, to ensure that we hold on to that. Because even though I wasn't a huge part of this, but I did contribute to this 20-point lead. I'm the one that these guys are looking at, very much like Jalen Brunson. When Jalen Brunson steps on the floor in the fourth quarter, we know what it is. I'm the one that they're looking at to end games. It's me. And
so what's the remedy to that? There's got to be a remedy to that, right?
Yes, it does. 100% it has to be a remedy to that. And the remedy to that is you got to play better, Ox. I mean, there is no you and I, we've gotten into spats before because a lot of times you oversimplify things, but it's necessary. And that's what this is right here. This is necessary. Ox, I ain't got to tell you about how he's got to do a better job in getting around screens. I ain't got to tell you how he's got to do a better job in getting on the glass or shoot the basketball better. This is something simple. And into your words, play ball. Play basketball.
So that's and I understand it and I stand on that. But with that being said, we've discussed this before. I think Ron has been big on this. I've talked about it a lot. You can't just live and die off this same. It's basic, just dribbling, drive, shoot threes.
Yep.
Like the Knicks got something for that. OG and Mikal are equipped to shut that down. I think that's what they're doing. Right. So I don't think it's just so much JT got to play better. I think they got to play basketball. They can't just keep doing this. Shooting all these threes like that's not going to work. I just don't see that
against
being successful. Yeah, against this team, right. And that's my point though. This team was built to shut this down.
Right.
And absolutely. I think they're doing a good job of it. Like I understand that they go up big and they lose it, but I think that's because of the way they're playing. It's high stakes poker. You know what I'm saying? This is big game hunting. They're out here shooting. So while you're hitting, it's gonna look good. But while it's not happening, it looks bad. Really bad. It
does. 100% it does.
So I think they got to switch up their style a little bit. Coach Mazzulla got to switch it up.
I think that the offense that they run, they get plenty of good looks. So this is a matter of making shots. But the regard that I hold Jason Tatum in, where if I think that you are in best of the world talks, because this is what I'm going to do, Ox, right here on Chill with Chill. I am going to make you stand in your greatness. If you are that, wear it. Don't run from it. So with that being said, if I think that this guy is this, as good as OG Anunoby is, and OG, I mean, they don't come much better than OG Anunoby as a perimeter defender. When I think about the defenders in the league, they don't get much better than that. They don't. But I look at you, and to be quite honest with you, I don't think they get much better than you. So you should be able to handle yourself when we need buckets against something like that. That's how you get yourself in these talks. That's how you get people talking about you like that, because you're going up against this level of competition. This isn't Washington, right? This isn't Charlotte. This isn't the Trailblazers. This is the playoffs, and this is OG Anunoby. Now, I can appreciate you getting it within the offense, within the flow of the offense, because that's how Joker does things. Joker is very much like that, where he operates within the flow of the offense, and he can very well take over a game, but within the flow of the offense. Jason Tatum, on the other hand, if you are who I say you are, if you are who I think you are, this is the time to show it against this level of competition. Ox, I can appreciate how lanes get shut off. I can appreciate how great OG Anunoby is on the basketball. Mikal Bridges also. I can appreciate all of that. But what I do know for a fact is that the offense that you guys have run, the offense that you guys ran throughout the course of this season, even though it was 3-point heavy, it generated a lot of open looks because the action you run, screens, moving without the basketball, to your words, playing basketball. So because of that, that has to continue. And you, as the dominant player that I think you are, you have to deliver, and you haven't done that.
Sure, I don't know if Jason Tatum could survive getting swept or losing in 5 in this fashion. You know what I'm saying? Like, and obviously, I'm talking about just talk, just sure, narrative and discussion based. That'd be chill. It would be really hard for him to overcome something like this, especially if a player like Jokic or SGA wins the championship, or their team, of course. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It'd be a really bad look for Jason Tatum to lose in 4 or 5 like this.
I've said,
how does the legacy recover from that?
Well, I've said this to you before, Ox, that if you look at throughout the course of the year how I've been talking about him, and I said to you earlier today, prove me wrong. And what I mean when I say prove me wrong, I think you are this good. Prove to me that I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong that you're that good, I'll wash my hands with it, Ox. I will come on here. I will tell you. I will come on here. I will tell all of you. Not that I'm out, because he's still going to be my guy. Maybe you ain't as good as I think you are. Maybe I was wrong about you.
That's what I'm saying. Too. I wouldn't expect you to take. But off of just this, I mean, we've seen JT play amazing before, though. Like, does it take one series? Does it take one down series to ruin? I mean, he's been in the league. What's this? Is year 7?
Yes, year 8.
7? Year 8?
No,
year
7.
8?
Year 7. Year 7.
Year 7?
Yep.
I mean, you've been around for 7 years. We've seen you be phenomenal in the playoffs before. We've seen you win a championship. You know what I mean? You've contributed heavily. You've had big games in the playoffs. There's one slump. I mean, all great players have had a shitty series, right?
Sure.
I mean, I think even if this does end the way it started, we gotta find JT some grace and you know what I'm saying, let him come back and redeem himself.
Now, Ox, with that being said, I did the same thing with James in 2011 when they lost in the NBA Finals. I said the same thing. Maybe he's not as good as I think he is. Maybe he's not what I think he is. But he did redeem himself, because I'm going off the information that I see at that particular time. And at that particular time, he had been in the NBA Finals twice in the last 4 years and melted 2 years in a row, twice in a row. And I'm thinking to myself, as good as he was as a player, maybe you're not what I think you are. That doesn't mean that I was out. That doesn't mean that I'm out. But at that point, I'm thinking, maybe you're not what I think you are. But that changed, because he did redeem. He did show it to me. But as of right now, again, Ox, this is who I think Jason Tatum is. I think he's that good. Prove me wrong. If you prove me wrong, I will 100% wear it. You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe he isn't what I think he is. At this point, maybe he isn't what I think he is. But I got to see it first, because this is how I feel about him right now. I still think and I said it to you earlier today, and I can look in the camera and say it right now. JT, I still think you the baddest mother you know what on the planet. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. And then I will step off.
Right. Well, I mean, chill. I do think that this series over in the East is and what happened last night, because you could call that just an implosion, a breakdown, a meltdown, whatever you want to call it. You know, I think that is kind of taken away from the fact that out west, another team caught a real beatdown.
Out for them, Ox. They was waiting outside.
Yeah, and in that beatdown, I mean, Nikola Jokic was somewhat underwhelming. I thought last night was going to be a huge game for Jokic, obviously offensive, but it turned out that he was going to come with 17 points, 6 assists, 8 boards, and foul out.
Yep.
You know, he played 32 minutes. He fouled out of the basketball game. He was a negative 36. I think so. I think that the Jason Tatum thing, and it has a lot to do, obviously, with, you know, the fact that JT is your guy, and you know what I'm saying. It seems like it turned into more of a about you thing, you know. You know how that happens sometimes.
Right.
So we're not much talking about the meltdown. I'll call it a meltdown from of that, because that was a beatdown. They beat those dudes by 43 points, right?
Smoked them out. They were down by as many as 50 at one point. They were down by as many as 50 at one point.
Yeah,
yes, they were.
And also, I mean, Jokic did have quite a game one. So I guess that might be like, okay, you played so good game one, now game two, we'll see what happens game three. But chill, we've seen these meltdowns, we'll call them for the sake of conversation right now. Chill, I want to ask you about meltdowns of the past.
Sure.
You know, have we seen these type of things, you know, whether it's a game or a series? Have we seen these things happen before? Because apparently the Boston Celtics are the favorite. They're getting beat up by the Knicks right now. So do you maybe have like a top 5 meltdowns that you've seen?
I have, Ox, because it's interesting you mention that. Because I'm when I think about a meltdown, I think about you completely and utterly just going to pieces. That's what you do. Everything is in your favor, and then you go to pieces. And one of the meltdowns that I've seen, which isn't a top 5, but it's an honorable mention, it's Damian Lillard in 2018 in the playoffs. Damian Lillard at that point was an elite player. And when I say elite player, actually first team All Pro, they were the higher seed going up against that New Orleans team. He was having one of his best years, and he was completely and utterly shut down. Couldn't do anything. Shot less than 40 from the floor. I think he barely shot 30 at the long ball line, and they were swept out of the playoffs. Swept 4 straight. It was one of the biggest meltdowns that I had ever seen. But in comparison, the Rockets, Phoenix in 1995. Ox, I was doing some homework and I was trying to figure out how many teams have had the home floor advantage, and in the process of them having the home floor advantage, drop the first 2 games at home and come back and win the series. Houston did it in 95. That Houston Rockets team was down 3-1. That Houston Rockets team was down 3-1, right? They were down 3-1. But they didn't have the home floor advantage. Phoenix had the home floor advantage. I apologize. Phoenix had the home floor advantage, but Phoenix threw them 3-1 in a hole. And when I say smoked them, Ox, in the first 2 games, blew them out by an average margin of 23, then come back and win game 4 in a dogfight. Then Olajuwon just turned it on for the last 3 games, because it ended up going 7 games. He ended up averaging 30, 10, and almost 3 blocks for that series after they had gone down 3-1. It was one that Charles Barkley was less than stellar during that time, shot less than stellar. That was one of the biggest meltdowns that I had ever seen. The other one that I was thinking about, which I thought was really interesting, which is the most recent one, which was the Clippers Nuggets in 95, and not 95, in 2020 in the bubble. They were up 3-1 against Denver and just completely went to pieces. That's where the tag Pandemic P came from, when Pandemic P and Kawhi Leonard and those guys just completely went to pieces and lost to Dallas. I'm sorry, lost to the Nuggets. Jamal Murray and Joker completely outplayed them, and it was somewhat of a disaster, a complete disaster. Yeah. The one that I would like to put higher, but there's others, is 1984 finals with the Celtics and the Lakers, which birthed tragic magic. I mean, Ox, this is a Laker team that goes into Boston and handles them in game one. They have game 2-1, right? They have game 2-1. Kevin McHale goes to the free throw line, misses both the free throws. He didn't miss one free throw. He missed both the free throws. The Lakers are up. The Lakers are up by 2. All they have to do is keep rolling. Instead, Kevin McHale misses the free throw. Magic calls timeout, stops the clock. The Celtics the Lakers get the ball back. Worthy turns the ball over. They tie it again. Henderson ties the game. They go into overtime. There's your meltdown. They go into overtime. Magic dribbles the ball out, dribbles the clock out. They don't get a shot off. They go into overtime and they just go to pieces, which is where tragic magic turned into. That was one of the biggest meltdowns that I had seen. That was, of course, until I saw LeBron James in 2011 in the Miami Heat in the finals against the Mavs.
We're not even going to do Miami. We're not even going to put Miami here, too. I'm putting Bron.
That's it, Bron. That's all you need to put, Ox. It's nobody else but Bron, because in this particular series, that's all it was. It was James going to pieces. Ox, I can't say that I've seen anybody. That was one of those times where I was looking at James going, who is this dude? Because I had no idea who that was. He just looked foreign to me. Right. And number one, I think, is the biggest meltdown in NBA history was the Golden State Warriors being up 3-1 in the NBA Finals after winning 73 games and then letting the Cavs come back and beat them in the NBA championship. It's the biggest meltdown in NBA history. No question about it. You got 3 games to win one. 2 of those 3 games are on your home floor, and they come back and they ended up winning the series. After you smoked them in game 1 and 2 and game 4, smoked this team. Like, these games weren't close. And for you to go to pieces like that, it's the biggest meltdown that I've ever seen in NBA history.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yep. The biggest meltdown that I've seen in NBA history, 100%. Yep. No doubt.
Yeah, that was incredible. So if you're just getting here, or if you missed out, if you don't know exactly what this list is, this is the list of the top 5 meltdowns in NBA history. We got the Phoenix Suns in 95. We got Phoenix Suns in 95. We got the Clippers in 2020, Lakers and tragic magic in 84, LeBron James 2011, and the Golden State Warriors in 2016. Which, if you ask me, Bron pretty much redeemed himself from that 2011 with that showing. Because that was a crazy run they went on.
Yes, he did. No question about it, Ox. Yes, he did. No doubt.
Shin, I gotta ask you a question. Let's go back to the future real quick. Let's say that what happened in game 1 and game 2 were to replicate. Were to happen in game 3 and game 4 of this Boston-New York series. Would the Boston Celtics make it on this top 5 list of meltdowns in the playoffs?
They might go. They might go. Let's see. If I'm looking at this list, yes, they definitely go ahead of Phoenix. They definitely go ahead of the Clippers, and yes, they go ahead of the Lakers too. Yep, they go, because at least the Lakers got to the NBA Finals and they ended up melting down. This is a team that redeemed. They tried to redeem themselves from the year before. In '83, they ended up getting swept in the finals by Philly, and then in '84 they end up going to the NBA championship. But this team right here, a team that dominated the Knicks throughout the course of the regular season. I'm not saying that they played good. dominated the Knicks throughout the course of the regular season. And Jason Tatum himself clearly outplayed any and everybody. He was the best player on the court in every one of those games. Every last one of those games, he was the best player on the court. So I think the Phoenix 95. I think the Phoenix 95 team would come off. I think that Clipper team would move down. I think that Laker team would move down, and I think that Celtic team would go to 3. Yep. This would definitely be one of the biggest meltdowns that I've ever seen. That includes the 07 Heat, who after winning the NBA championship in 06, they got swept in the first round by the Bulls. They got swept.
Right. Well, y'all know what we're here for on Thursdays. On Thursdays, we're really here to dig into these playoffs right now. Chill, we won't be here tomorrow. We'll be back on Chill with Chill on Saturday. But let's just get some prediction into. We can talk about what happens after. How do the Cavaliers bounce back, and can they bounce back? I know you made a statement the other day on the panel. I just want to know if maybe you slept on it, if you changed your mind on it. How are we looking at that Pacers Cavaliers series going forward?
I'm not sure if Evan Mobley's going to go. I think Hunter's going to go. I know Jared Allen is going to go. I think that we have, I think we have history right in front of us. I think one of two things is going to happen with these 2 first-round series, because, like I told you, Ox, we have 2 series. We've had 2 teams in the last 60 years come back after dropping the first 2 games at home. That's the Phoenix Suns in '93, and that's the Boston Celtics in '17. So with that being said, with these 2 series right here, Ox, because we got 2 teams, I'm thinking to myself, one or two things is going to happen here. I think either both of these teams are moving on or they both out. I don't think that there's any in betweens with both the Cavs and the Celtics. I don't think it's going to be one or the other. Either both of these teams are moving on or they're both out. And with this Cleveland team, they got a tall task ahead of them. This Indiana team is ridiculously confident. I feel like the way that they are put together, the way that this unit has been rolling, how much faster they've been playing, how much more under control they've been, how much better their defense is in the second half of games, how much better guys like Obi Toppin and guys like that have been playing. Because for all intents and purposes, Pascal Siakam is a great player. He has not been good in this series at all. He has not been good in this series. He has been less than stellar, but there's a standard that we don't hold him to. We hold him to a different standard. But and that's not to say that this Cavs team can't come back, but they got a tall task ahead of them, because I feel like this Indiana team as a unit, defensively and offensively, they're on a different level right now.
Right. Chill, I'm thinking on that, right? And the New York Knicks versus the Indiana Pacers, Eastern Conference Finals, that's good for basketball.
Must see TV.
That's good for basketball, Chill. The 1 seed and the 2 seed getting knocked out by teams that nobody really saw coming. Tibbs kind of standing on defense. Jalen Brunson will have to have big games going. Yep. I would like to see a Jalen Brunson Tyrese Halliburton showdown in the East.
And to see it again, and not only to see it again, Ox, if both of these teams can stay healthy, because that's what happened last year with Halliburton, because he ended up getting knocked out of the playoffs because he had a groin injury, and then, as we know, OG Anunoby, he wasn't able to go in that series against Indiana because he had a hamstring injury. So this is probably the healthiest that we've seen both of these teams. So if both Cleveland and Boston are out, then we could very well get this. Very, very well we could get this.
Chill. What does a conference finals, right? Let's look ahead. Conference finals. We got OKC versus Minnesota in the West. And then we got New York versus Indiana in the East. I love that. Let's get some Shea versus Ant, Hallie versus Brunson. I'm thinking some big games, real showdowns.
You just brought it up yourself, Ox, that's good for basketball, both Indiana and New York. One, it is a rivalry in the NBA, and they played each other last year. Now, be clear, folks. I'm not writing off the Celtics. The series is still going on. I'm not writing off the Cavs. The series is still going on. right?
Right. I'm just having some fun.
Yeah, that's all we're doing is we just talking right now, right? But to Ox's point, if this happens, Indiana and the Knicks, it goes back to those 90 battles. It goes back to what they just did last year. This is the healthiest that they've been. This Minnesota team, we already have a guy in Anthony Edwards who is moving toward trying to be the face of the league. It's very important that they stamp that. The Golden State Warriors are hampered right now. Steph Curry is going to be out for at least a week. This series could be over by the time he's healthy. This series could be finished. This series could be finished by the time he's actually ready to go, right? So with that being said, now we also have Oklahoma City and Denver, because now we have the league MVP, who I think the league MVP is going to be, which is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, going up against currently the best player in the game. So we can actually put that, we can have a different conversation about that. So if we end up getting, we could also get a rematch of both Indiana and the Knicks, and we could get a rematch of Denver and Minnesota like we got last year, which would also be must-see TV. And it's and I think that would be good for basketball. Now, I'll tell you what, Ox, we do need big markets, because as much as people say stuff like you root for the underdog, you really don't. You don't. You say you do, but if Oklahoma City is in the finals against Indiana, you're not going to watch. You're not. You say you're going to watch. We're going to watch.
Who's not, why wouldn't they watch, Chill? SGA versus Tyrese Halliburton? I mean,
SGA versus Tyrese Halliburton.
The hoop heads will watch. Chill.
That's what I'm talking about. Us, we already on the hook, Ox. We in. We're going to watch this.
Right.
We're going to watch basketball. But you know the lady standing in the kitchen who she's got to get her son some Steph Currys because her son likes Steph Curry. She don't really know who Steph Curry is, but she's paying more attention to Steph Curry. She's the casual fan. That's the people that they're trying to get in. They're not concerned with us. Who they're concerned with is those other people. So Tyrese Halliburton is a household name. It's not. SGA is becoming a household name. He isn't there yet, but the New York Knicks is a household name. The Boston Celtics, that's a household name. That's why that's what's going to drag people in. No matter who is playing for the Knicks, they're a household name, and people are going to tune in if it's the Knicks. People are going to tune in if it's the Boston Celtics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Knicks will be great, and that's what I'm saying. Jalen Brunson, they're still in. I'm just looking at this from the guards' point of view now. I mean, Steph Curry, if they can get through he can get back into it. You know, this playoffs is turning into potentially a really good show for the kids too. You know what I mean? The young hoopers, the young hoopers, the young guards. If they could see Jalen Brunson, Tyrese, Shai, and these dudes, you know what I'm saying, getting it in the conference finals, this will be a really good show for the kids. I would love this. I would love this. I don't even care who wins.
It's crazy that you bring that up, because that's exactly what I'm thinking. Like, if I'm 15, if I'm 16, this is and I play guard, this is exactly what I want to watch.
Right.
These are exactly this is exactly what I want to watch. Jalen Brunson. I want to watch SGA. I want to watch Anthony Edwards, right? I want to watch Tyrese Halliburton, and I want to go to the court and I want to go work on what I'm seeing with these guys. That is must-see TV for a hoop head at 15, 16 years old that's watching these guys and trying to develop my game and trying to get better. 100%, that's great for TV.
Sure, I know. I won't miss a game of those conference finals, no matter what. Like if we can, so I'm just gonna put that out there right now. That's what I want. That's what I want. I want to see Indiana versus New York, and I want to see Minnesota versus OKC. That's what I'm pulling for, and that's what I hope for, because I think those are the best possible conference finals games we can get. And I think those conference finals will do a lot for basketball right now. I think a lot of people tap into it. It'll create a lot of young super fans. I'm talking about even younger. I'm talking about kids from 8 to 12. You know what I'm saying? Those kids are going to be tapped in. You know, it's going to be AAU tournaments. Kids are going to be in the hotels watching it. Man, I'm hoping for that. But real quick, though, I know we do got a super chat right here from Joe Breezy. Joe Breezy says, quick question, fellas. How do you guys rate Ron Artest? Who's his current competition comparison? And is the 2003 Pacers the best Pacers team all time? The Malice in the Palace, or the Malice team, PC's best NBA coverage globally. That's what's up, Joe.
To answer your question, I rate him. I would rate him on the defender that he was. I would rate him on the offensive player that he was. He was during his prime in the conversation as one of the best two-way players in the game. He was the defensive player of the year while averaging 20 a game. That was going on 100%. And the comp that I would have him in is I would have him in that same category with Amin Thompson, like Amin Thompson, Scottie Pippen, that kind of competition. Now he wasn't the athlete that Scottie was. I won't ever argue that. I don't think he was the passer that Scottie was. But in terms of a bucket getter, in terms of a defender, he was a little. I ain't gonna say a little bit volatile. He was volatile, and anybody that knows that he was volatile. But as a basketball player and what he brought to the floor, no question in my mind was he one of the best players in the game. Now, as far as that 2003 Pacers team, the 04 team with the Malice in the Palace, Joe, I had them winning the NBA championship that year. I had picked them to win the NBA championship that year before the season started. Considering what you had done in the East Finals the year before, when you lost to Detroit in a dogfight, we ended up losing to Detroit in a dogfight. I thought with the unit that you were bringing back next year, with Jermaine O'Neal and Steven Jackson and Jamal Mosley and not Mosley, the point guard, Jermaine O'Neal, all of these guys, I thought that you guys had the best team in the NBA. That includes what the Lakers had with Shaq, Kobe, because I thought those guys were starting to fade. I thought that you guys had the best. I thought that you guys had the best team in the league, and I thought they were going to win the NBA championship that year. I did.
Yeah, so that's what he was saying. He just cleared it up in the chat. He was talking about that team. We just said the wrong year.
Yes, no doubt. I thought I had to pick to win the NBA championship that year before the season started. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, that's what's up. Let me see. We got somebody in the lobby. We got a big fan, Breezy. Let's pull Breezy up and see what's going on.
Yes,
what's up, Breezy?
What up?
Chilling, man. Enjoying the show for one. For two, I gotta disagree with Chill. I don't really disagree with Chill a lot, but I do think that the NBA needs to see these teams that don't have an NBA championship compete for a championship. The fans will tune in to see the Pacers on their championship run. They don't got no NBA championships, and I think like platforms like Players Choice could highlight that. Shout to Ron. Ron big on repping Halliburton and what's going on with them. And it's that's why I love Players Choice, because I watch the panel and I see different fans of different teams, and it's just like a plethora of information that I'm getting, and I appreciate you guys. But that's what I agree, because of the parity. Chill. I Googled it to check before I pulled up. This is the most parity we had in the NBA ever in its time. You know what I'm saying? There was never a time where it was a different champion every season for this amount of seasons back to back to back like this. Yep. And also, I don't remember this many playoff teams that don't have an NBA championship in the playoffs. You got OKC, you got Minnesota, and you got the Indiana Pacers all going for a championship, and they don't have championships. So I think the NBA did a great job in having these teams that don't have an NBA championship in contention for a championship.
I'm thinking from the, and that's a fair statement, but I'm thinking from the casual fan. I ain't talking about hoop heads, dudes like you that's going to tune in anyway. Dudes like me that's going to tune in anyway, and Ox that are going to tune in anyway. I'm not thinking about those people. I'm thinking about the casual fan. I'm thinking about the people who they just know LeBron James as a basketball player. They don't really know much about basketball, but they know who LeBron James is. Now, will they tune in to watch SGA? That's something that I'm thinking about. Now, as far as the parity, I mean, that was going on in the 70s, and it was the lowest rated NBA in its history. But the difference is that it wasn't the mass media that it is today, right? So with there being this kind of parity, I do think that there's bigger media outlets, but the flip side to that is there's a lot more to do. So when you don't have your team in it, if the Knicks aren't in it, or the Celtics, or the Lakers, Oklahoma City, which is not a big media market, yes, the NBA wants to introduce the world to SGA. 100% they do. But they would be able to do that a lot better, not just if it was Indiana, but they would be able to do it a lot better if it was the Lakers, if it was the Knicks, because it will be a bigger stage. Like if the Knicks are in the NBA championship, New York, that kind of media market, and how they would introduce SGA to the world if they were playing against the Celtics, that media market, how they would introduce SGA to the world. That's what I'm thinking about when I think about viewership.
Yeah, now, I'm with you, but I just want to say this last thing. Don't you agree that we witnessing small markets become big markets? What Anthony Edwards is doing for Minnesota, what Halliburton is doing for Indiana, maybe John Morant and what he was doing for the Memphis Grizzlies or doing for the Memphis Grizzlies. The NBA is trying. They giving these high draft picks to these teams. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. But at least,
I think the problem I'm having, fan, is I think unfortunately, I don't think that. And the reason why I don't think that is because I feel like these media markets, these small media markets, Milwaukee, Minnesota, they ultimately lose these guys to bigger markets. Anthony Davis ended up going to the Lakers. Dame wanted to be in Miami, right? Dame wanted to be in Miami. The problem, Milwaukee's going to lose Giannis to a bigger market. Not only is Milwaukee going to lose Giannis to a bigger market, I don't think Anthony Edwards is playing 12 years in Minnesota. I don't. I think that he's going to outgrow Minnesota. I do. I think that ultimately, I think he's going to sign an extension, and I think he's going to be there for a little while longer. But I think that at some point, very much like what happened to James in Cleveland, I think he's going to outgrow Minnesota, and he's going to end up going somewhere else.
Yeah, thank you, Chill. And I just got to say this last thing, that you are absolutely right about Ant-Man in a couple years. You said Ant-Man in a couple years, we're going to be talking about him being the best in the game. And he taking out legends. So appreciate y'all. Shout out to Big.
All right, brothers. Good to talk to you. Yes, sir.
All right, Breeze.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. I think Ant's going to be amazing. Yeah. Let me see who we got. Ryan. We got Ryan. What's up, Ryan?
What up?
What up, y'all?
What up?
And glad to be back up here. It's been incredible playoffs so far.
Yes,
but
sir.
I wanted to talk to you about Tatum, man.
Yep.
Chill. Yeah. You guys he's in a state of disarray right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been so, I don't understand like where you're coming from with this best in the world thing. Like I try to be open-minded. I try not to think that, especially in a league like today where Breezy was talking about, the parity, we got a different team winning every year. The current defending champs are down 2-0. It's looking like, we're going to have a new champion this year too. But one thing I sent a super chat during the panel today, or a members chat, talking about Joe Mazzulla, because I think he's flying a little too far under the radar for my liking, and it's about time that he gets the slander that he deserves.
You got to put the spotlight on him, is what you're saying? Like he hasn't been spotlighted enough.
You need to understand, this Celtics team is the first team in NBA history to shoot more shots from behind the three-point line than inside the arc. They're the first team ever to do that.
Sure.
This is a disgusting brand of basketball and is straight up disrespectful to the game. You're jacking. You're acting like the rim doesn't exist. And I'm glad this is happening to them. People want to criticize analytics, but I think that this is the radical extreme of basketball that you're watching with the Joe Mazzulla offense. And I can't be more glad to watch it go down in flames.
Now remember, now remember too, Ryan. Now remember that this thing isn't over. So with this thing not being over, they could still win, but to your point, they could still lose. And this brand of basketball, which they're trying to, they've won with. I mean, they led the league in threes last year, right? They led the league in threes last year.
This is the downside to that.
Yes, 100%.
Just because you won with something doesn't mean necessarily you don't need to adjust. And
well,
like Amar's always says, it's about process over outcome. And I feel like, this is the same team that on opening night against the Knicks, they tried to set the NBA record for most threes in a game. And they just, when they came one short, we saw what they kept doing. They kept on shooting. And they almost left the Knicks back into the game. I think that was a very telling display. And I think that that's something that the Knicks have really kept note of during this performance, because I don't think the Celtics are going to stop. They're not going to stop shooting. I have no reason to think that they're going to stop.
Well, remember who the Knicks, not the Knicks. I'm sorry. Remember who the Celtics coach was, and remember that Joe Mazzulla at that point was a throw-in, considering what had happened at that time. Like
see what I'm saying? You're letting him off the hook, though.
I'm not letting him off the hook. No, I'm not letting him off the hook.
Jason Tatum has taken more threes than Ime Udoka ever let him take. And as a matter of fact, he averaged over 30 points when he was taking less threes. This Celtics team has made. He still was
losing too. Don't leave that part out. He was losing. He ended up winning with Joe Mazzulla.
He was performing on an individual basis better than he is right now.
Is he though?
When he was losing, he was performing better than than last year when he won. So
is he though? Considering, I mean, he was leading the team in scoring, leading the team in rebounding, leading the team in assists, being a better playmaker. So now with this team, don't get me wrong, I'm not totally appreciative. I'm not totally appreciative of the long ball, and I do think that Jason Tatum should get to the rim a little bit more. But let's not act like Joe Mazzulla was their guy, and he's been there for 5 years. He's learning on the fly too, and that doesn't mean that he's not that.
Like I said, taking more shots from behind the arc than inside the arc that's coaching. At a certain point,
100% it is.
Something like that,
it's working. I mean, up until this point, it was working. I mean, they won 60 games. With them winning 60 games, they won the NBA championship, and they're at the top of the league. Don't forget, they still with that brand of basketball, top 5 in the league in offense, top 5 in the league in defense. That still is going on. So let's not act like Joe Mazzulla is just doing a piss poor job, because he's not. It's not like he got a crew and he's just completely wrecked this thing. No, he didn't. I mean, they still are rolling.
But it's worth criticizing. I mean,
100%.
If he was a terrible coach, then it wouldn't even be worth it wouldn't even be worth talking about. If he didn't have a formula that was working at all, it wouldn't even be worth having a conversation. But clearly, this is a thing that can't work. Clearly, this is a talented roster. This is a team that can get it done. We've seen them get it done, but they're falling apart.
Yeah.
And to your point, and real quick, Ox, and to your point, this is a thing that can work. But if it doesn't, it's one of those things that it's an either or. There is no in between. Like, this thing can work and we can win the whole thing. But if it doesn't work, it's going to be awful. And we'll just go down in flames. And that's what it looks like right now. Yeah, that's what it looks like right now.
That's the fact. You live by it, you die by it.
Sure.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Well, appreciate you, Ryan, coming up and giving your take, man. Always appreciate it.
Absolutely, brother.
Good to be up here. I'll see y'all later.
No doubt.
Who we got next? We got my man, the Brim Reaper, Leaf Diggy.
Yes, sir. What up?
I'm gonna try to maintain my composure, bro.
You don't have to. You don't have to. This is nonsense.
No.
Leaf, don't come up here like, let me be cool. Leaf, don't forget, these dudes won 60 games last year. Leaf, these dudes, Jason Tatum, I got him in best in the world conversations. Don't forget, Leaf, these dudes are the defending NBA champs. Don't try to be calm about this. This is unacceptable what you're seeing right now. It's not okay.
No, I wasn't talking about that.
It's not okay.
That's not what's I first off, I could give a damn what happens in that series. I really don't. I'll tell you what's pissing me off. These Cavaliers and these damn Minnesota Timberwolves. Listen, I'll be honest with you. Like, to have the way that team broke down in that last game was something that I might as well be watching the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, you don't. It's not funny. It's not funny. It's not funny.
I'm sorry, Lee.
The way that this thing, bro. I'm like, yo, bro.
I hate it too. I do. I hate collapses.
Bro. You cannot break down that way, Bobby. No. You said it yourself the other day on the panel. Yo, why are you getting folded up and not boxing out, and Neesmith is gliding right over you for a dunk? Why is you turning the ball over down the street? These teams do not know how to close no goddamn games. And I'm not just talking about the Celtics. These teams don't know how to close no goddamn games. I'm serious. It's when these games get tight and they get down to the wire, I'm seeing a whole lot of number 2 type of shit.
I was about to ask you that, Lee. Do we have a bunch of co-stars and not a star?
That's exactly what we have. That's exactly what it is. I feel like the only series where you seeing legitimate stars in is probably OKC and the Nuggets series. You're seeing the two best in the world. You're seeing the two guys that's up for MVPs. One guy had 40 and 20 in the first game, and another guy had 38 on damn near 100%. They going back. You already know this is going to be a back and forth series. And by the way, for anybody in the chat that thinks so, I have no sympathy for Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. I have none. I have none.
Is this happening right now before your eyes? Like you've said to me countless times that these 2000 and 2010 dudes, get them up out of here. Is this happening before your eyes? So
Pack them up.
LeBron James sprained MCL, Steph Curry now with the hamstring injury. Like, are we getting these? Are we getting these dudes out of here? Lee?
Chill. Listen, I'll tell you this: if the Minnesota Timberwolves lose tonight's game, bro, it's because somebody else on the Golden State Warriors put on the cape, and you know who I'm talking about. And I talked to you about this, before the playoffs started. My thing with the Cavaliers is, this team is starting to break down before our eyes. Chill. You said the other day they needed Darius Garland. Now they don't have Evan Mobley in. DeAndre Hunter. This is an absolute shit show. If the Pacers don't win these next two games, they will not win this series. They gotta win these next two. These is must wins for the Pacers more than it is for the Cavs because they got them on the ropes.
Do the Cavs have to win? Do the Pacers have to win Game 3 more than the Cavs do?
Yes, they do. Because if they lose at home, then that means that now you giving the Cavaliers some confidence. Now they got some boost. They like, all right, we can fight our way and we can tie the series 2-2. If it ties it up 2-2, the Pacers will not win this series. And I think the Pacers have all the momentum to win this series. You stole both games at home.
Both of them, not one, both of them.
You stole both games at home, and now you going back home, bro. You playing with house money. You got to end this. You got to.
It's crazy to see. It's crazy to see how the Cavs and the Celtics are going out right now. This is.
I think one of two things is going to happen, Lee. I do. I think one of two things is going to happen, Lee. I think both of these teams are either both of these teams are advancing or they both out. I don't think it's going to be no in betweens here, Lee.
So wait. As of right now, you bought both teams getting swept.
Both of these teams are out, or they both get. Or
I
they
need
both
to know
moving
what
on.
you got. I need to know what you got. As of right now.
Oh, I want today. I got Cleveland out. 100%. I got Cleveland out.
You got Cleveland out. They're not winning the game.
Yeah, I got Cleveland out. Yeah, I got Cleveland. And
what about Boston?
I might have jumped the gun on getting swept, but as of right now, yes, I like the Knicks. 100%. I do like the Knicks.
So you like the Knicks and the Pacers both in 4?
I didn't say no. What I said was I might have jumped the gun on the Celtics getting swept. But I do like the Knicks. I do like the Knicks beating them. I don't know about sweeping them, but I do like the Knicks beating them.
Bobby, what you got, bro? You got this shit over with?
Yeah, for sure. The Knicks. I got Knicks in 5 or 6.
And you got the Pacers in 4.
Nah, not necessarily. I don't know about that one.
I think
the Cavs could come back and get that one.
The Cavs. Okay, so you got the Cavs winning tonight, and then they gonna tie the series.
I don't know. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I got the Cavs. I'm not saying I'm not. You know what? Cavs in 7, bro. Cavs in 7.
You got Cavs. Okay. Listen, I got Indiana. I got Indiana in 4. And if they don't win, if they mess around and split here, I think they're gonna blow a 3-1 series, and I think the Cavs are gonna win. They better not give the Cavs a game. They don't need to give the Cavaliers a game.
They either sweep them or lose 3-1. Leave. What type of logic is that?
If they either sweep them,
matter of fact,
or they losing this series in 7. That's my logic. By the way, for all you OKC supporters, bro, I got the Nuggets in 5 still, bro. Like I'm not moving off of that.
So they ain't winning. Okay. So OKC ain't winning another game in this series.
No.
No more. Okay. All right, Lee. Appreciate you, bro.
Know where to find you at, brother. Absolutely, my man.
Man, that's crazy. I know Leaf happy about this Warriors situation too.
Oh, he 100% loving to see Steph Curry go down in flames. He's loving that.
That's crazy. Cowboy Bob came through with a super chat. Says, "Wait, so everyone was okay when Warriors won with 3 points then lose the next season. So history can repeat itself. Knicks take one, win at home, go New York, go.
Yeah. I mean, that in fact, that was the brand of basketball when the Warriors were doing it. That's what everybody thought. That's the future of the NBA. So everybody has to start doing it. That's how James was able to preserve himself. I gotta start moving toward the long ball line. That's how Joel Embiid, that's how all these big guys were able to do that, because that's where the game was going. It was getting pushed further away from the basket. So when the Warriors did it, but now that the Celtics are doing it, this ain't what's up.
Yeah, it ain't what's up, because the Celtics don't got Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. It's way different. That's why I was like, people say it changed the game. They thought they changed the game. What I kept trying to say is, you're not Steph Curry. You're not Klay Thompson. And even more so, you don't have both of them together with a willing passer like Draymond Green. So you can't just say, hey, let's find the best 2 or 3 shooters we can find and then do what the Warriors did. That's not realistic. It's not realistic. You got to have Steph. You got to have Klay. You got to have a willing passer, a good defense. The game didn't change. Steph Curry came through and convinced a couple of delusional people that he could do what they could do. That's not basketball. That's an anomaly. You can't do that. Mm-hmm. Chill. You can't do that. You can't.
You can't do that.
No.
When you say you can't shoot threes, you can't do that though. No, you can't.
This whole the NBA is a copycat league thing. It's true, but you know what else it is, Chill? It's stupid. It's not. It's true, but it's also stupid. Why are you trying to mimic them? You're not them. Why would you? Let's say, for instance, that now teams try to model it after Denver with the Jokic thing. Where you gonna find another Jokic?
You got to get Jokic in order for that to work.
Come on, man, you can't.
And it's not working. And I think that's what one of the biggest problems that we have with what's going on in the NBA. People do copy what other teams are doing, but they don't have the personnel to do it. That's why the brand of basketball doesn't look as good. That's why people hate it so much. Well, they hate it because other teams are doing it. This team that's winning is doing it. It's just that these other teams, they don't have the fortitude and they don't have the foresight to go, okay, we can't do that. But that's not the only way to win. There's other ways to win besides that. We don't only have to play like that. But because this is a copycat league and they're doing it and it produced an NBA championship, we got to do that too. No, actually, we don't. No, we don't.
Yeah, the copycat league thing is a bad idea. Don't try to keep your eyes on your line. Stop looking over their heads. You're gonna see you're gonna hurt yourself. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna hurt yourself trying to do that. Yep. You know what I'm saying? You're not them. But as everybody knows, Thursday shows are an hour long. Mm-hmm. We are at the hour mark. I know we got a couple. Oh, he's mad as fuck. Mm-hmm. But that's okay. We'll want to catch up with you next time. See everybody else later. We'll be here on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Man, watch basketball, man.
Please
watch basketball.
Please do it, yo.
That's all you gotta do, y'all.
We got some real good action going on. Real good action. But we will see you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. Call your mother. And if you ever in the Portland area, you had too much to drink, hey, hit my man up. Here comes Scoopy. He'll make sure that you get home all right. He'll make sure that you do that. We will see you guys soon. But until then, take it light. But take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys today. No doubt.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all in the morning on the panel. Mm-hmm. Y'all, take care of yourself, y'all. See y'all soon.
Yeah.